Shake dreams from your hair, my pretty child, my sweet one. Choose the day and choose the sign of your day, the day's divinity. First thing you see. A vast, radiant beach and a cool, jeweled moon. Couples naked race down by its quiet side. And we laugh like soft, mad children, smug in the woolly cotton brains of infancy. The music and voices are all around us.
One issue that has come up is once you do have a vaccine, how do you properly distribute it? How do you get it out quickly to millions?
Well, when we have the vaccine, we have the military all lined up, and the military is going to be doing it in a very powerful manner. These are people that don't usually do vaccines. They do soldiers, and they do lots of other things that, frankly, are more difficult. But we have our general, and logistically, he's all set. Tony, do you want to say something about that?
That is correct. As the vaccine rolls out, we'll be getting them distributed. And as you probably have heard, we are going to make sure that we do it in an equitable way, and it's representative of the populations who need it the most.
Sorry to interrupt, but I found this quite interesting. So he said they wanted to, give it out in an equitable way to the populations that need it the most. So I went ahead and I looked up the definition of equitable, because I want to be super clear about everything. And first it pops up and it says fair and impartial to adjective, valid in equity as distinct from law. All right. And that's kind of more or less, it says it's the same as fairness and stuff in the first couple things that pop up on Google, of course. But then I start to, as I scroll down, I'd see more things. It says equal and equality means exactly the same, whereas equitably means fairly. For example, if you have two groups and both receive 50% of a resource, that can be considered to be an equal division of resource. That may not be equitable. Say one group has 70 people, the other has 30. All right? And so it starts to sound kind of weird. And then there's one that says equitable treatment does not necessarily mean treating everyone the same. Okay, so I found that interesting. Then equitable distribution, on the other hand, refers to a situation where differences in income are allowed, but only within certain limits. Differences in income are allowed, but only within certain limits. Fair treatment means people receive non-discriminatory attitudes regardless of their personal conditions. Equitable treatment means people receive the same opportunity to reach a specific objective while specific considerations are in place. So the more I read about it, and in reference to how they were kind of using it, the way I understand it, it doesn't mean equal. It means a very specific group of people is how they're going to start to distribute it very powerfully by Trump's definition of it, and swiftly. So I don't know, just between, first off, just the military doing it in general does not leave a good taste in my mouth. And then you get Trump's arrogant way of stating, pretty much bragging that it will be in a very powerful and swift way, with his shit-ass smirk on his face as he says it. So, yeah, take it for what you will, people.
And we have the standard way that we determine that with the ACIP working with the CDC, but Dr. Collins and Dr. Redfield have put together with the National Academy of Medicine a group that will fortify that decision-making process so that we're making sure that we're very fair and equitable in getting the vaccine distributed properly.
And I think I could have Francis say that the tremendous progress has been made on the vaccine beyond anything that we would have thought if you go back 6 months. What do you think?
It is just, frankly, quite astounding, Mr. President. I've been at NIH for 27 years and director for 11, and I've seen some amazing things happen. But the way in which the whole research community, public and private, philanthropies, everybody has come together to work on this, not worrying about who gets the credit, trying to figure out how to strip away anything that's going to slow things down. And I think all of us, motivated by the fact that this is the most serious problem we've encountered in our professional lifetimes, even a day matters. And so that's why a lot of people look kind of sleepy, because we're all working 24/7, trying to make sure that nothing possibly slows this process down. Yeah, the vaccine.
Well, take what you will from all that. I think the biggest thing to take from it would be the fact that the military will be powerfully distributing the vaccine once it's ready. And I find that absolutely alarming and wrong. And the whole thing about using the military powerfully, this is something Trump needs to be completely clear about, because it will only lead to confusion, fear, conspiracies, and that's the last thing we need right now. Anyways, moving on. Trust me and watch the rest of this video till the end. If you're not appalled by what the lady says, then I don't know what to say to you. Trust me.
Stay up to date and never miss another report. Download my free notification app to receive an instant notification each time I upload new content. Click the link in the production notes below this video or visit headlineswithavoice.com to download the app today. Thank you. As Moderna begins a late-stage trial of its vaccine, the company's chief medical officer, Tal Zaks, sold almost all his shares in the company, according to a report filed to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. And this raises concerns about Zaks' trust in the vaccine. Although Zaks and other Moderna executives have been cashing out their shares for the past few months, they've increased the sales of their shares since reports were published on a successful test of the vaccine earlier in July. In general, when stakeholders believe in their product, they increase their shares in order to increase confidence in the market. The move by Moderna executives to do the opposite raises concerns about the company, especially considering that Zaks, who sold almost all of his shares, is on the scientific side of the company. Zaks still holds tens of thousands of dollars worth of options in Moderna. Moderna CEO Stéphane Bancel also cashed out on shares in recent months. Share sales by Moderna CEO Bancel, his children's trust and companies he owns amount to about $21 million between January 1st and June 26th. 7 executive compensation experts told Reuters that share liquidations by Moderna executives show the incentives that biotech executives have to highlight development milestones, even for pharmaceuticals that often don't get approved or sold. Such optimistic statements could cause investors to overpay for company shares or create false hope concerning a possible effective vaccine. Jess Fried, a Harvard Law School professor, stated, quote, "This may be their one shot at making a boatload of money if the vaccine doesn't work out," unquote. Fried added that Moderna's executives have a powerful motivation to keep the stock price up. Reuters stated that it has not found evidence that Bancel, Zacks, or Moderna have exaggerated the company's vaccine progress. Uncertainty remains concerning how effective a vaccine would be in fighting the virus, as it's still unclear how long one can remain immune. Moderna launched a 30,000 subject trial of a vaccine that could clear the way for regulatory approval and widespread use by the end of the year, the company said last week. The trial is one of the first-stage studies supported by the Trump administration's effort to speed development of measures against the outbreak, adding to hope that an effective vaccine will help end the lockdowns and restart the U.S. economy. Narrator's note. The article states that no evidence was found that Moderna, Bancel, or Zacks exaggerated the company's vaccine progress. Pro tip. When the chief medical officer and the chief executive officer of a pharma developer at the forefront of lightning speed vaccine development and human trials, of a vax that more than likely will be rolled out to the American people in a very powerful manner by the U.S. military, courtesy of the Trump administration's Operation Warp Speed. When the CMO and the CEO of that company cash out all their shares, it might be an indication that they know trouble lies ahead, the kind of trouble that will make shares in the company's stock crash. This is Nancy Morgan Hart.
All that first class jets, it brings me down, down, down. All that first class touch, it brings me down, down, down. It's a big machine, it's a big machine. Slaves to a big machine. It's a big machine, it's a big machine. Slaves to a big machine. I'm tied up to a big machine. I got houses, got cars, I got wife, I got kids, got money in the bank. Get away without borders. I'm a slave, new world order. I guess I chose to be, I guess I chose to be, I guess I chose to be, I guess I chose to be. All that first class jets, it brings me down, down, down. All that first class touch, it brings me down.
A senior executive from AstraZeneca, Britain's second largest pharmaceutical manufacturer, told Reuters that his company was just granted protection from all legal action. Rudd Dauber, a top executive at AstraZeneca, said, quote, "This is a unique situation where we as a company simply cannot take the risk if in 4 years the vaccine is showing side effects. In the contracts we have in place, we're asking for indemnification. For most countries, it's acceptable to take that risk on their shoulders because it is in their national interest," unquote. Dauber added that Astra and regulators were making safety and tolerability a top priority. AstraZeneca is one of the 25 pharmaceutical companies across the world testing experimental drugs that could be used to combat the virus. The company could manufacture hundreds of millions of doses with no legal recourse if side effects are experienced. European officials stated that product liability was a significant discussion in order to secure new vaccines from Pfizer, Sanofi, and Johnson & Johnson. In the United States, the Food and Drug Administration's Public Readiness and Emergency Preparedness Act provides immunity to pharmaceutical companies should members of the public experience damaging side effects. In short, government funds vax development with billions of your tax dollars. Regulators grant Big Pharma total immunity from legal recourse. Pharma rushes experimental vax to market, rakes in billions of dollars. public enjoys zero return on investment of billions of their tax dollars. President Trump states, military will distribute vax in a very powerful manner. In the event of damages, public has no legal recourse. That, my friends, is the quintessential sweetheart deal. This is Nancy Morgan Hart for Headlines with a Voice.